Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside Vince Guinness Stadium. Elks return home here for 3 games set against the Northwest Star Nighthawks. Here with Tyler Wood. Had 8 strikeouts yesterday on the road against Ridgefield. What was working so well for you?
Yeah, Ridgefield's a good team. We're coming in 1-1. Just wanted to go out there and set the tone. Lots of fastballs early, and then once you get ahead, you start mixing. Had some great defense behind me, and it was a fun game.
And so, how have you been able to have that part of your game evolve with the strikeout stuff through working in your first year at UC Davis?
Yeah, during the season with the pitching coach calling pitches, he does a great job. We get a lot of early contact. Here I've been getting deeper into counts, which leads to more strikeouts, but also run your pitch count up pretty good. So it's all about learning how to balance that and just growing as a pitcher throughout the process.
In your freshman year with the Aggies, you're able to be that Saturday starter guy, 18 total appearances, 9 starts. How were you able to separate yourself in the competition in the fall to be able to lock down that starter job?
Yeah, coming in as a freshman, you just really got to work hard. Got some great guys there. Absolutely love the program, love the coaches. For me, it was all about getting in the weight room and just really working with my catchers, developing my stuff, working with the coach, and just learning how to grow from a high school competition to college competition.
And what did you learn from the different jumps and how you had to adapt to that?
Yeah, middle doesn't play. Got to learn to work the corners, work up and down. I'd say the biggest thing is you got to be able to put your pitches in multiple spots. In high school, if you pound away with your fastball and pound away with the slider, you can get away with that. Here you got to learn to, work the fastball in, work the fastball up, slider down the way, and just have that third pitch. For me, I'm working on a changeup right now, try to get that going.
And so how did the Aggies end up finding you? What was that recruitment process like out of De La Salle High School?
So from De La Salle, I actually went to Virginia and took a gap year with an academy team. It was a great experience. I got to live on my own for a year, learn how to, just really grow up to be an adult, cook for yourself, clean for yourself. And through that process, I just matured and got better, was able to lift and just really focus on baseball. And De La Salle is a phenomenal place, phenomenal program, nothing but good things to say. And throughout the whole process was just learning to grow up, going from being a kid to being a man.
And how challenging was that? You're moving entirely across the country on your own. Like you said, growing, having to figure out all these different things. How do you think that set you up to have that maturity to come in at UC Davis and really already have that step ahead?
Yeah, it was great from a time management standpoint. Guys are just getting outside the house for the first time. They're going out, they're doing this, they're doing that. I've already kind of learned how to adapt. So like on Friday nights, I'm hitting the books and getting ahead. That leaves me time on Saturdays to recover and focus on baseball, and just, it also gives you time to do things you want to do, like get out, go home for the weekend, whereas other guys they got to take that time to go do their laundry or get when they're behind on the homework, go do the homework.
So a lot of guys might be like, hey, I just want to go to college right then. Why did you make the decision to, hey, I think this is the best decision for me to take this academy year to prepare me to get to that D1 stage?
Absolutely. For me, it was just, I've been playing baseball since I could remember. I love this game. There's nothing I'd rather be doing. And at the end of the day, Division I wasn't a make or break for me, but I wanted to take the extra year without using a year of eligibility to see if I could get there. And the program now is called PDG Academy, Pro Development Group. They do a phenomenal job. I gained about 10 pounds, and I put about 3 miles an hour on my fastball. So just making those strides, making those jumps and still being able to go in as a freshman to Davis and not having to waste that year of eligibility was a huge.
Definitely a big maturity factor. But before you go to that academy, you talked about your love and your appreciation for De La Salle High School. One of my favorite sports movies of all time is one of the first ones I ever watched was When the Game Stands Tall. How much of that aura still surrounds the school?
I could sit here and say what I'm going to say. The school and its history speaks for itself. Baseball, 7 or 8 NorCal E-ball championships, 4 NorCal championships. Football's record is unmatched. There's just something about going to a private school these days where kids are still held accountable. my sophomore year, if you skipped a class, it was an automatic detention. No two ways about it. And I feel like that's just kind of lost. So I'd say it was definitely the, consequences for your actions sort of thing, helping you grow and just making sure that you're responsible.
And how important, like you said, is that accountability factor to you and your maturity to place you as a more ahead freshman than other of these guys as far as just from a mentally mature standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, going to the mental aspect, I mean, it's just, I don't even know what to say really. Like, just when you're surrounded by good people, you grow to follow in their lead. Like, Mr. Aliotti, I'll call him out personally. He was our dean, and I mean, when he stood up and talked to the school, you felt like that was your dad, and therefore you wanted to make your dad proud. You just you want to do things to make people happy. You don't want people to look at you and go, "Oh, it's that guy." You want them to look at you and go, "Oh, hey, it's that guy," in a positive way. And I think from the mental side, it's just learning how to make people want to surround themselves with you. It goes back to the oldest saying, surround yourself with those you want to be with. So I don't think it's more personal. I think it's just that environment of the school as a whole.
So, trying to develop as a man, is there any role models in your life that you've been able to use to model yourself after?
Absolutely. My dad, biggest influence in my life. He got me into baseball. He's been around the game his whole life, and he just taught me to do right from a young age. You do the dishes, you say yes sir, yes ma'am. You open doors for people. And then my mom also, she's just my biggest love. When I was growing up, she would do everything for me. But then again, going to that maturity, it's learning when's the right time to start doing things on your own. Maybe sophomore year, hey, you got to start, doing your own laundry, or hey, maybe you got to cook once a week. Just learning how to grow up healthy and not be absolutely dependent on someone, but also you have them there when you need it.
Right. And, kids may have a limited perspective during that time period. Oh, this is a chore. Mom, why am I doing this? Dad, why am I doing this? But how much have you grown to appreciate that now in the stage in your life you're at right now?
Oh, absolutely. I know that when I first started having to do it, absolutely, I was like, no, I don't want to do this. This sucks. But looking back on it, it's been nothing but the best. Just learning how to really grow up and do things on your own. It goes back to helping you get ahead. It's like you sit down the books your first year of college and you don't know what you're reading. It would be easy for me to say, as a freshman in high school, like, oh, I'm just not going to do this. But now it's like, well, no one's here to do it for you. You got to pick it up. So I would say it just helps you in all aspects of life. Like, I go back to the fishing thing and being mature. It's so easy to get frustrated and get mad and then ruin your day. But same thing with baseball. You make one bad pitch, you can sit there and say, oh man, like this is going downhill. Or you can straighten up, take a breath and say, I'm going to change this around. This day is not going to go bad because of one pitch. I'm going to make 3 good ones right here and we're going to get out of this inning. And that also helps your teammates too. Being in the dugout, picking guys up and knowing that they're going to have your back. Because at the end of the day, if you're playing hard for each other, those are the teams who win.
And touching on your fishing aspect, that's a fun hobby of yours. That takes a lot of patience. How is that patience translated to your process and to getting where you're at?
Absolutely. I'd say if there's 2 ways that you could take that with. One, pitching, as a starter, you only pitch once a week. I would say that the biggest thing there is learning to balance that patience with work. Like, hey, you can look at it as, oh, I only get to pitch once a week, or hey, I get to pitch once a week. That means I got 5 days to really hit the weights hard, or hey, I got 5 days to long toss and build my arm strength. And then those other 2 days when you're sitting there, you're not just hanging out in the bullpen, you're down on the rail cheering on your teammates, rooting for your guys, being the first one out of the dugout to go get them. And then with my recruitment process, the patience, I absolutely thank God for getting me here, and I believe that there's absolutely his plan and his journey for me to get here. If you would have told me my sophomore year of high school, hey, you're not going to college right out of high school, I would have said, are you crazy? I'm not saying that I was that good or anything, but You know, you always hear your whole life, oh, it's a natural progression. You go to high school, you go to college. But really, I mean, there's so many other ways these days to get there. I know a lot of great junior college guys who absolutely love their road. My fellow teammates at the academy, they're all at phenomenal schools now, and coming out of high school, some of them didn't even know if they were good enough to go to a D2 or D3. Like, it's just all God's plan in the process, and just trusting that if you work hard that everything's going to work out the way it should.
Absolutely. There was one last thing I wanted to touch on with you is that it kind of draws back to your maturity, which we've learned about through this conversation, is that you and your team and started a fund to raise cancer research, funds for cancer research. Why did you decide to do that?
That was at Pro 5, Craig. So that was a coach-run thing, but we really, I mean, I'd say the biggest thing for that, you know, the cause was phenomenal. Getting all the guys to buy in and do their part was awesome. But also it taught you, with the growing age of social media, it was teaching us to expand our outreach. You know, get on Twitter, now X, get on Instagram, you know, build your follow base and just really kind of put yourself out there. And the fact that we could do it for a good cause too was phenomenal. But it all ties in together, like growing yourself, helping others. It's a balancing act, like especially with this, as I said earlier, this connected age. I mean, I'm not very good with my phone, which is weird for kids these days, but it really taught me a lot about promoting like a brand and how that could help me down the future. And also, I mean, that cause, you know, cancer research, it's something that's very dear to a lot of people, and I'm happy to do my part to help there, even if it's small.
Tyler, I really appreciate your time and your insight, and you've had a unique journey, and I'm glad that it's led you here to Bend.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Elks taking on the Northwest Star Nighthawks tonight at 6:35.